Next up for Aston Villa, the league leaders. They'll take on Arsenal, who took on Brighton, of course, a 2-1 victory for them, which they made such hard work of, Shaq.
Yeah.
Like, Brighton didn't have a shot at all in the first half. It should have been dead and buried. But yet again, Arsenal fans are made to sweat right to the final whistle. Is there going to be an occasion where this is going to bite them in the bum?
That's kind of what I actually predicted for this one. That you've seen this from Arsenal over recent weeks, where they've gotten over the line, at times have kind of limped. I spoke about the injury time winner against Wolves. You saw it in the Cup against Crystal Palace. And I just wonder if that would be the case here. Arsenal just have not been blowing teams out of the water as they should. And listen, on today, Arteta had to make adjustments. He stuck Declan Rice out at right back. But still, you come away from the game, get 3 points, but almost you feel as though you're left with just as many questions as answers. What's Gyökeres? What's his role in this team? How is he making this team any better? And similarly, I'm not sure. And while great, you come away from this with 3 points, you're still top of the table. Very good response given what happened earlier in the day. You rely on an own goal. Great. And then the David Raya save. I mean, while you can just say, yeah, that's why he's there, that's why he was signed, blah, 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 that was simply outstanding. And that really is the difference between having a totally different conversation about Arsenal and maybe Arsenal being in a totally different psychological position. Had they drawn, they would have been second after being top for so long. And I just wonder, as you look at these games, as the Champions League restarts and Arteta inevitably has to rotate, with this inability to run up 3 or 4 goals and give yourself a comfortable lead over anybody in the Premier League, if that will come back to haunt you.
Is there not a different side to it to say, look, this is Arsenal's blip? They're not playing very well. They're having to rely on things like own goals, yet they're still getting results. So once they get through this, then they're going to be cruising.
It's hard to call this a blip. I think they're just struggling in terms of the final third. Yes, Shaq is talking about that. You need a goalkeeper like Raya to win the league. To come out and make a save like that when he's basically had not a lot to do the whole game, and then all of a sudden he pulls that out of the hat. I mean, that's 2 points. That's 2 points. But that's how you end up winning the league, because you've got talent in your team. And today, that talent that mattered was your goalkeeper. But there's no question that their biggest problem is up front. And I've been kind of hesitant to get on the back of Gyökeres, but today when I was watching him, I'm thinking, boy, I'm starting to kind of go the other way, because they thought they were signing a goal-scoring centre forward, a guy who would finish games off, a guy who would score 2 and 3 to kill the game off and do it from nothing, but he's actually not contributing. And unfortunately for Arsenal, right now, it seems like nobody else is really looking that dangerous in the final third, including Saka. So I really don't want to call it a blip. I just think they have to figure out how they create and score more goals when they're on top. Because there's no question. I mean, they were the better side. But you've got to finish games off, because unless your goalie can turn around and do what Raya did, then that's why you wouldn't win the league.
Frank, Arsenal did win the game. They are top of the league. Are the boys being too harsh?
No, I agree with the guys, and we were talking about Chelsea being good for an hour. That was the same case and the same scenario from the Gunners, outstanding for an hour, and suddenly something gets wrong. And the thing who got wrong is because the coach of Brighton changed the tactic, and they started to play at 4 at the back, and it was more stabilized, more organized, and suddenly Brighton were better than Arsenal. The first in the Premier League. And again, if you don't have Raya and that fantastic save, it's a draw. They weren't performing against Wolves. They struggled before against Crystal Palace. They're not at the best of the best. So I'm not going to talk about the luck again, because people are going to say, oh yeah, it's all about the luck. But everything go their ways. But be careful, because at some point you can be punished if you don't finish it. But as the guy said, yes, the Final Four is not there. He's not performing. He's not doing great. So is it Gyökeres? Is it others? Because Saka also is not. Sometimes I remember one action when he has the ball and he has to give right to the right to Odegaard and decided to shoot, put like 3 yards above the crossbar. And I say, why he doesn't give the ball to his friend? It was easy. And there are some stuff who tells me that it's not perfect. Months ago, I would have said Arsenal going to win the Premier League easily. Now, it's not given, for sure.
I'm not quite sure there's anything Declan Rice can't do. Look, Jay, with Manchester City playing earlier on, and I kind of want to bring you back to a few years ago when Arsenal were chasing Manchester City there was this, they were going head to head, and all the talk was about who was playing first on the weekend and the pressure that they could put on. And Manchester City showed their experience then. How important was it to see Arsenal respond today after what Manchester City did at lunchtime?
I mean, I think the fact that they've been in them situations before now, I feel like Arsenal players are coping with it better. Obviously, they still need to go and win a title, being under pressure from another team. But all they can do and what they did today is work hard, create chances, score goals, and keep on plugging away. It's a really difficult time right now because of all the games. Again, more injuries. Calafiori's picked up an injury. Timber's picked up an injury. But luckily, Gabriel has come back in. Skelly played really well today. So it's really tough. It's really demanding. But that's what you got the strong squad for.
So you talk about demanding. The fans are probably going to be watching Arsenal, certainly in the last few games in particular, and seeing almost a nervous energy come in, especially when they concede a goal, panic stations, they sit back deep. Are they getting nervous already? Bear in mind it's still only December.
I don't think nervous creeps into it. I feel like more, anxious sometimes.
That's a posh word to say nervous, right?
I want to say anxious because I feel like sometimes you see Arsenal playing really well. And like you said, teams will just drop in now. Be difficult to beat, be compact, be aggressive. And it's not always easy to break down, 8-9 players behind the ball. But then when they do get the goal, that's when the game opens up again. But sometimes it is very hard. But again, like I've said, I feel like Arsenal have the tools now to bring players on that can make a difference, create chances, score goals. And that's a great thing to have from Arteta's point of view.
Well, look, the most important thing, they're top of the league. That's all Arteta will care about tonight, certainly. I wonder if that's all our first fan of the evening show thinks about that. Nick Karamalis, great to see you again, mate. I hope you've had a great Christmas. Hope you've put on loads of weight like Jay says he has as well. Look, Nick, what's your initial response? Tricky match against Brighton, but considering Manchester City put the pressure on early, you pleased just to get over the line?
Yeah, 100%. You've got to be pleased. I mean, these are going to give me a heart attack, though. We don't seem to win comfortably anymore. At this stage of every season, even at the Emirates, we were cruising, and we're always cruising in the first half, and it just looks like, one goal up. We should be way ahead, and then we get sucker punched every single time at the Emirates. One shot against us, and it goes in, and all of a sudden they got their tails up, and we're just kind of dropping further and further and back. But listen, the last 3 games has been similar to that, where we've just scraped over the line. But we've got 9 points out of 9, so you've got to be happy with that. I think previous seasons we'd probably end up drawing at least 1 or 2 of those. So maybe we've turned the corner in that respect. And another positive I think from today was that we created chances, which we don't always do. So we did create the chances. As long as we keep creating, eventually we're going to start scoring some more goals, but we do need to kill some teams off earlier because it's not good for my heart.
Nick, we spoke about Odegaard in the past, and I think today especially was, from my point of view, what I want to see from Odegaard. I want him picking up the ball on the edge of the box, and his first thoughts is, can I get a shot off? And that's what he done today. In the past weeks, he ain't scored a goal since May, and I know he's been injured, but nevertheless, a player of his quality should be scoring more goals. When he received the ball today, he didn't hesitate at all. He was like, I'm shooting, and that's what he done. In his comments afterwards, he said he's been working on his shooting, so he's obviously aware that I've been talking about him.
He's been watching the show. Jay. We're going to hear from Martin Odegaard later on in the show, and we'll get to that a little bit, Nick. I wanted to ask you about Victor Gyökeres, and actually off camera, Jay asked me this great question question. He said, look, if Arsenal had a must-win game, it's a great question. Arsenal had a must-win game. They had a fit and firing Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Victor Gyökeres, and Mikel Merino. Who are you going with? Who's your number one striker?
I think last would be Gyökeres at the moment. I really don't think he's that great. Listen, I know
you've done a U-turn then.
No.
Yeah, you have done a U-turn. You was telling me he occupies defenders, he works hard, he does all this.
No. Jay, you're confusing me with someone else. Do you remember I said
it was you.
Championship? I said it was championship level, and you went, oh, that's a bit harsh.
But when I spoke about him before, I was saying, listen, there's no doubt about it. He can score goals, and he did it in Championship, and then he did in Portugal. But then, like today's game, for example, he had a great chance where the ball's played over the top. It's bounced lovely for him. All he's got to do is just caress that, over the keeper. The keeper's nowhere near. The ball could have bounced twice. The keeper still wouldn't have got there. But he's not showing the clinical mentality you would expect from a top striker. That's why when we have these conversations about who you play up front for Arsenal, now I've seen Gabby come back. Jesus looks unbelievable. He can hold the ball. His link-up play is really good. Because we're not used to seeing it, because Gyökeres has been playing there. My thing is this. How can Arsenal get the best out of Gyökeres and Gyökeres get the best out of the players that are playing in the team at the same time?
Nick, what's your response to that?
Here's my worry about Gyökeres. Saka had the ball quite a few times down the right. Saka played really well, especially in that first half.
Putting loads of crosses in as well.
But the thing is, Gyökeres is hiding behind defenders. It's like he's not confident at the moment, but he's not making the right runs, near post runs. And that's what worries me. Another thing that worries me, he doesn't hold the ball up. I mean, Jesus came on, and within 10 minutes, he'd done more than Gyökeres the whole 100%. Game. And that's not the first time, by the way.
No, I agree with you, because I always said, listen, my whole thing about it is, obviously I was a forward. I'm saying, if you're not scoring goals or assisting goals, you need to do something else.
Do you think he was at the start of the season? Because watching him at the start, he seemed to have a lot more energy.
James, I think he's put massive pressure on himself. Like, first of all, taking a number 14 shirt, you've put massive pressure on yourself by, that's the great one. That's the best Premier League striker of all time. You do not take that shirt unless you think you're that guy. But I just look at his overall output in the Arsenal shirt so far. He's not doing enough, and it doesn't seem like he wants to change his game or improve his game to get the best out of himself, but to get the best out of his teammates.
I think this is going to be a question for many. Look, Nick, let's talk about Aston Villa. They're in great form right now. We'll actually show you guys them going behind. Actually, Chelsea have taken the lead in that game this evening at Stamford Bridge. But Aston Villa, after what happened at Villa Park, the last minute Emi Buendia goal, how big do you see that game, and what do you want to see from Arsenal that we perhaps haven't seen from them over the last few games, despite winning the games?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's a massive game for us. Massive game, especially psychologically. We need to kind of beat this team, especially at home now. I want to see a bit more energy. I think, we're playing after 3 days, but so are they. They're playing later than us. I think we've got a bigger squad than them. So I don't think there's any excuses. Hopefully, Arteta, obviously, Eze and Madueke didn't come on. I think he'll probably use them against them as well. So a bit more energy. Still creating chances as we did. Let's finish some chances. I don't really want to see Gyökeres up front. I'll be honest with you. At the moment, I don't think we can afford to be carrying him. But I think we can beat them. I think we should.
Nick, finally, Arsenal still winning the league?
Yeah, of course. Cool.
Leandro Trossard proved to be the perfect antidote to Arsenal's attacking frustrations, following Mikel Arteta's candid remarks about Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres may have struggled to truly impress since his summer arrival at Arsenal, but over the weekend, there was finally a glimpse of what he is capable of. More importantly, Trossard showed exactly why he could be the key to unlocking the Swedish striker's full potential during Arsenal's hard-fought 2-1 victory over Wolves at the Emirates Stadium. The 31-year-old winger injected fresh energy into Mikel Arteta's side on Saturday night and helped breathe new life into the Gunners' attack. Shortly after replacing Gabriel Martinelli in the second half, Arsenal found the breakthrough. While Trossard did not directly contribute to either the opening goal or the dramatic stoppage time winner, his influence on the game was undeniable. Trossard took control of proceedings, dictating the tempo and pulling the strings down the left flank. Time and again, he dismantled Wolves' compact defensive setup, releasing Miles Lewis-Skelly into space, picking out Declan Rice on the edge of the box, and crucially, feeding Gyökeres with intelligent, well-timed passes. Operating as a creative hub, the Belgian showcased his playmaking qualities, delivering sharp, purposeful distribution. His introduction completely shifted the momentum of the match, and for the first time in weeks, Arsenal's $64 million striker briefly looked like a genuine threat. Before Trossard's arrival, Gyökeres endured a frustrating and ineffective outing in attack. In fact, the Belgian was the only player to carve out a clear-cut opportunity for the 27-year-old forward, slipping a simple yet incisive ball in behind the Wolves' backline. Gyökeres controlled the pass, beat his defender, and aimed for the far post. Wolves goalkeeper Sam Johnstone was beaten, but the Swedish striker saw his effort agonizingly drift just wide. If Arteta truly wants to get the best out of Gyökeres, then granting Trossard a more prominent role in the starting 11th could be the solution. Speaking to TNT Sports after the win, the Arsenal manager openly addressed the challenges facing his marquee signing. "It's a collaboration between the two," Arteta explained. "He was in some really good positions, but the ball didn't arrive quickly enough, accurately enough, or with the precision a number 9 needs to score." But his commitment and intention were there, and we have to keep pushing. Arteta was equally vocal in defending Gyökeres prior to the match, urging patience with the striker's adaptation to English football. "There was huge expectation because we were signing a proven goal scorer, probably with the best statistics in Europe," Arteta said. "But he's coming into a different league, the most demanding league in the world. What happens if he doesn't score in 5 or 6 games? That was the only question I asked him. How are you going to react if you don't score in 5 or 6 matches? Can you handle that? And what about the next 100 games? That's what people need to see. The sample size is still very small, so leave him alone. Let him do what he does best. Support him, and I'm convinced things will come good." That message from Arteta resonated beyond the Emirates. In the days following the Wolves' victory, the debate around Gyökeres intensified among pundits, supporters, and former players. While some questioned whether Arsenal's record signing is truly suited to the Premier League's pace and physicality, others pointed to the structural issues around him rather than the striker himself. Much of the post-match analysis focused on Arsenal's chance creation and balance in the final third. The Wolves game highlighted a recurring theme this season. Gyökeres often makes the right movements, but the service into dangerous areas has been inconsistent. When Trossard entered the match, that problem briefly disappeared. Arsenal suddenly looked more fluid, more unpredictable, and far better equipped to supply a traditional number 9. Former players speaking on television and radio were quick to note the contrast. With Trossard drifting inside and linking play, Arsenal's attacking shape became more compact, allowing Gyökeres to stay higher up the pitch and occupy central defenders. That, in turn, created space for midfield runners like Rice and Ødegaard to arrive late in the box. It was a glimpse of an attacking formula that Arsenal have rarely sustained this season. The reaction from supporters has been equally divided. While frustration with Gyökeres' goal return remains, there is growing appreciation for his work rate, physical presence, and willingness to press from the front. Many fans now see Trossard as the missing connector, the player who can translate Gyökeres' movement into genuine scoring opportunities. Internally, Arteta faces an important decision. Persisting with a front line that isolates Gyökeres risks damaging the striker's confidence, especially with tougher fixtures on the horizon. At the same time, promoting Trossard to a regular starting role could mean reshuffling wide positions and reducing Martinelli's minutes, a bold call that would not come without consequences. Yet football at the highest level often comes down to chemistry rather than reputation. The Wolves match suggested that Arsenal's most expensive signing may not need drastic changes to his own game. but rather the right supporting cast around him. If Arteta embraces that idea, Gyökeres' slow start could soon be remembered as nothing more than a difficult adjustment period. For now, the pressure remains. Goals will ultimately define Gyökeres' Arsenal career, and patience in North London is never unlimited. But with Trossard offering clarity, creativity, and calm in possession, Arsenal may finally have found the key to unlocking their striker and turning promise into consistent production.